It's been really exciting talking about all the new Apple hardware that came out recently. iPhone Pro Max out there breaking records, the best battery, the best screen, the best CPU, the best camera, all these great things about the new iPhone, and I'm sure you're all wondering the same thing. When's the next Apple event? I want more hardware! This isn't enough! When are we getting another Apple keynote? So that's what we're talking about in today's video. All of the things that didn't come out at the September event. When are they coming out, and will there be an October event? We're just gonna assume yes for today's video. So, anywho, let's begin. So it's not uncommon for Apple to have an event just shortly after the iPhones were unveiled, usually around the October timeframe, though some people are suggesting it's not going to happen this year because typically Apple doesn't do an October event every year. They alternate and they'll do it every other year, but personally I don't think it's them consistently trying to do it every other year. I think honestly they just go by what they have to announce at that time. So given there's been a lot of leaks and rumors for a lot of hardware we didn't get at the September event, I say an October event is somewhat likely, but you're probably not going to see it until the very end of October, meaning you won't get invites until halfway through October. So definitely not confirmed, not 100% happening, but given a lot of leaks within iOS 13's code for those Apple tile trackers we talked about before, there's even more code to suggest that there's an items tab in the Find My app that you'll be able to apply these little tags to your keys or bags or bikes or whatever you want so that you can track them if you'd like. And of course, there's been lots of chit chat about the 16-inch MacBook Pro and all of the features it's going to be sporting. So I think it's pretty likely that we'll get at least a little bit of an event at the end of the month. All of the things they'll be talking about, we're unsure. There was one rumor that was hovering around right before the iPhone event of the iPad Pro getting refreshed early from Macatakara, but I think this report is complete BS, to be honest, because this same report, the one that showcased that maybe new iPad Pros were coming and that they would have triple cameras on the back, it was almost believable because it was somewhat reliable of a leaker, and we thought maybe this triple camera setup on the back of the new iPhones was going to allow for some type of unique and exclusive augmented reality feature. But in all honesty, the iPhone camera is really cool and everything, but that triple camera really is just about taking good pictures, good video in night mode and that kind of thing. So the idea of adding just the really impressive triple camera setup from the iPhone to the iPad Pros, I think it would be completely unutilized. Not that many people would upgrade, and also consistently with the previous generation iPad Pro refreshes, this doesn't make sense for the line. The iPad Pro is not something that's normally refreshed every year. It's typically every year and a half, around an 18-month refresh cycle. So it doesn't make sense for iPad Pros to be coming out in October. And also that same leaker that said there would be a triple camera setup on the new iPad Pros coming as early as October also said that there would be a new 10.2-inch iPad that would have a dual camera on the back. But that kind of blew back in their faces because 10.2-inch iPad has been released, it's available now, and there's no dual camera to be seen. In fact, it was quite a minor and tiny upgrade to the iPad line. It's just a slightly bigger display on the last generation. Same price and everything, same CPU. Very little differences from the last one, but this, in my opinion, completely discredits that earlier iPad leaker who said that there would be new iPad Pros with triple cameras and a new 10.2-inch iPad with a dual camera. So if you're still thinking about getting an iPad Pro, I still think you're kind of late to the game, but at the same time, I personally don't think we're going to see new iPad Pros until June of 2020 at WWDC, because that's consistently where iPad Pros have been refreshed every 18 months. The last iPad Pro came out almost a year ago, so we're not going to get a refresh for another 18 months. And even then, what are they really going to add to the next gen iPad Pro? I mean, faster CPU, you already got ProMotion, and you already got USB-C. Maybe just make them thicker so they don't bend as easily. And, you know, now that it's possible, I kind of want them to wait on the new iPad Pros until they can do 120 Hz OLED displays, because we know that's possible now. With the Asus ROG Phone 2, it has 120 Hz and it's an OLED display, so Apple, don't release another iPad Pro until you can make one with an OLED display, but also has ProMotion. I think that would be dope, and just smash any remaining tablet competition you may possibly still have. So that would be cool. But anyway, what are we seeing at this event? Definitely the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which leaks and rumors for it have gone kind of quiet. I'm wondering if this is the calm before the storm. But in the past this year, we had Ming-Chi Kuo even saying that we should expect scissor key mechanisms on this next generation MacBook Pro, and probably potentially a very expensive starting price. I'm still on the fence about whether or not this will be replacing the 15-inch MacBook Pros, or is this in its all-new tier? It's going to be a separate tier from the current MacBook Pros, and this one will be the MacBook Pro X that starts at $3,000. It has its scissor key mechanism and thinner bezels with that 16-inch display, which personally I really want Face ID to be equipped in, but I feel like we would have seen leaked code for that within macOS Catalina, so more than likely they're just sticking with Touch ID this year, and it's just going to be thin bezels, which is why I'm not super excited about this MacBook Pro. It shouldn't be that drastic of a redesign, but something somewhat noticeable. The keys are going back to basics, not going to be that unreliable butterfly mechanism anymore, and the bezels should be noticeably thinner than the previous generation, which is good. I'm happy to see that happening, though there's not going to be a smaller configuration. They're not giving the same redesign treatment to the 13-inch MacBook Pro, so the MacBook Pro X or whatever should just be kind of a teaser to what future MacBooks will eventually look like. But in regards to CPU and hardware, there's not that many new CPUs and GPUs they could equip in this thing, unless they're working directly with Intel on some next generation stuff that's going to be unveiled at the October event. But yeah, it should mostly be an aesthetic thing and kind of a we're sorry message to all of the butterfly keyboard users and say, hey, we're going back to the old mechanism, but still expect a touch bar and that kind of thing. And man, what else we could expect? I mean, Bloomberg briefly talked about there being a cheaper HomePod in the work with 2 tweeters instead of 7, so a fairly substantial decrease in sound quality, but hopefully a decrease in price point as well. He said that would be coming, and Bloomberg's pretty reliable since we didn't get that cheaper HomePod at the last September event. If he ends up being right about that HomePod leak, we would probably see it unveiled at this October event. So as you can see, it's not really a focused event. It's just kind of a bunch of different hardware between tile tracker, MacBook, cheaper HomePod, and it just kind of circumvents a bunch of different products within the ecosystem, not one particular category to be specified. But part of me is still kind of hoping, but also trying to be realistic about that one more thing we didn't get at the last event. I really don't want to get my hopes up here, but there were quite a lot of people at the event, and including myself who watched the event, that felt like Tim Cook kind of very briefly and very awkwardly tied up that iPhone event. It felt like a very last minute change, to the point that a lot of people think that there was a one more thing that was supposed to come out at the September event, but because of the Coin X leak and because there was so much hype and anticipation, at the last minute they decided not to unveil it because everyone was expecting it. We may be overanalyzing things here, and I'm definitely not saying there might be a one more thing at this event, but it definitely would be a boring one if there wasn't, given the leaks we know leading up to this event are pretty shallow. There's like a new tile tracker, new MacBook Pro redesign, cheaper HomePod, and potentially some redesigned AirPods, though those leaks have also kind of fallen by the wayside. There hasn't been that many lately. We know Apple's been working on redesigned AirPods with better noise canceling and that kind of thing, but I felt like it would have made way more sense to unveil them at the iPhone keynote. Why would they wait till October? I don't know. Maybe they needed to make some last minute changes before they finalized anything, but it's going to be a very kind of random and sporadic event. I don't think it's just about the pros or it's just about the wearables. It's just going to be like a bunch of stuff that they didn't want to talk about at the last event, so kind of just a sporadic random one. So hopefully we get one. Even if it's a small one, I'd be fine with another Apple event this year as long as they had some cool hardware to unveil. I mean, if anything, it would probably make sense to announce that since all of their services are just about to be released once Apple TV Plus drops, maybe Apple could announce some bundles using all their services. When you buy a new iPhone now, they throw in this little high quality paper that showcases all of the different Apple services you can get. So maybe for people in the iPhone upgrade program, or just anyone who wants to, you could create some whole Apple One Plus or Apple Prime subscription that grants you access to all of these services at a discount from subscribing to all of them separately or something like that. So combining all of the services they advertise on their little high quality paper here, I think that you could offer some really compelling subscription model for like $30 a month, given Apple Care Plus for your iPhone is like $10 a month now if you want to do it monthly. iCloud maxed out 2 terabyte plan is $10 a month. Apple Card is free. Apple TV Plus we know is free for a year and then $5 a month. Apple Arcade is $5 a month. News Plus bizarrely $10 a month, and Apple Music is $10 a month. So maybe if you bundle all of these together for like $30, then a lot of people would subscribe to them, because I have always felt like from the get-go, since Apple's been trying to move to a more subscription-based service model, bundles are the way to win. That's the only way you're going to get people to pay for Apple TV Plus or Apple News Plus, is if you bundle it in and make them feel like they're saving money by subscribing to everything instead of just one or two things. I don't know. I feel like there's enough stuff for them to talk about to have another event next month, but I'm curious of what you guys think. So please feel free to hit me up over on Twitter or join our Discord. We can chat more about your theories over there. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one.